Welcome, guys. We're back with another episode of the BAM Sports Media Podcast. I am your co-host, BJ.
And I'm your co-host, Malcolm Maniac Bugs, also known as Coach Bugs. It's great to be here again for episode 6. We have 3 quick topics that we want to talk about, and obviously they are very relevant. We will be talking about the Alabama High School football playoff bracket. We will elaborate on 2 classifications. Um, Obviously, we definitely want to talk about the college football rankings and what we think people are stacking up against each other for outstanding finish to the season. And first topic is what everybody was talking about this past weekend, man. The the comical, but yet I would say very unique matchup between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. Um, Honestly, I obviously I have Netflix, so I was able to watch it. Um, One thing that shocked me about it was I would say, unpreparedness by the network to make sure that they had everything functioning perfectly for the fight. A lot of people were complaining about the buffering and the loading and the lack of service throughout that fight. Um, Now, fortunately for myself, I had no problems at all watching in the fights before him or them, and then watching their fight. So I was able to see everything, no buffering, no hiccups whatsoever when it comes to the streaming connection. What was your initial thoughts concerning the fight, man? I know this is a fight in which feelings, emotions are mixed. Some people were surprised, some people were disappointed. Some people were, um, uh, I would say, not. What word am I looking for? Not pleased with the results as well. So how did you react to
It was for the money. that's my simple, equation to it. Uh, I'm a Mike Tyson fanatic, man. That's my favorite fighter of all time. I had to tune in. I was at work, but I got home right in time to catch the beginning of the fight. Man, Jake Paul could have knocked old Mike out, man, plenty of times. But if you go back and watch it, the old Mike had opportunities too to get a good lick in on Paul a few times where he ain't throw no punch. You know what I'm saying? So
it?
that kind of got me thinking, was it, rigged? Was it just for the 20 million, the 40 million, 50 million, whatever the contracts was for both fighters? I think it was a money play for Netflix. Both guys won. Both guys, congratulated each other after the fight. That kind of showed me too that there really wasn't no animosity between the two guys. And I think everything that was, pre-fight when they did the weigh-in, I think all that stuff was theatricals.
Mm, mm. I totally agree with you from a standpoint of it was definitely a payday. People don't see the plot of both individual fighters when it comes to their internal motives, and even for fighting, because obviously um, Mike was doing it for the money, and Jake Paul was also doing it for the entertainment feature because of who he is and how his background has always been perceived. He's a young fighter,
Yeah.
but also for the money as well because he got paid double um, than what Mike made. I think Mike made an approximate amount of 20 million, and I think Jake Paul made either 40 or 50 million. I can't remember the actual total, but I know it's somewhere between there. Uh, I like the fact that you pointed out the ending of the fight, in which, when I wouldn't say the ending, but the duration of the fight, different points in time in which they went back and actually broke it down and had some analytical point of views and videos out there concerning uh, minutes in the fight in which Mike Tyson could have taken his shot on Jake Paul, and also many of times in which Jake Paul kind of held himself back from actually finishing Mike Tyson during the fight. Mike looked bad, man. The whole fight to me, after the first round, man, it was downhill from there. What's so crazy is, like you said too, man. You said theatricals. It was all planned. The slap at the weigh-in, the small clips of Mike Tyson actually looking great during training and hitting the crap out that bag, doing good in spa training when he was sparring with guys that had on equipment and guys that were holding up the gloves. He looked great. He looked very marketable. It made people believe that he could possibly knock this man out. But when you get out there, man, and the adrenaline is going on, a commentator pointed something out, and I think it was Stephen A. Smith. I was watching First Take the other day, or rewatching it, because I'm always at work when First Take is on. So I was rewatching First Take on YouTube, and I saw Stephen A. Smith point out something in which he said Mike Tyson stumbled walking out of the tunnel to the fight. So it was like, if everybody would have noticed that, it was a kind of a foreshadowing of events then into it wasn't going to be what some people were hoping and what some people were expecting as well. But with the 31-year age gap, do you think it was, I would say, like, diabolical, not smart for some people to think that Mike Tyson could even knock that man out with that big of an age difference?
Yeah, man. People crazy as I don't know what, man, to sit here and think that this 58-year-old finna go in here and knock out this young guy, man. I mean, granted, Jake Paul take fights of nothing but for a payday, if you ask me. But he fight people that's older than him. He fight people that's already done had careers in the fighting industry, whether it's MMA or boxing. When he fight an MMA guy, he get him to cross over to boxing where he got the advantage because obviously they MMA, they UFC, so they used to, takedowns, they used to kicking, they used to throwing punches, they used to submission, they used to everything. But you put him in the ring, now it's just a boxing world, and he got the advantage. Not only is he strong but young, can actually box a little bit, he got the advantage on these guys. So he pulled these guys in his world, and they think he just be some soft little white boy. But I mean, we all know white boys can take a punch. Jake Paul, one of the ones that can dish a punch too, though. So I definitely think Mike didn't have no chance, man. Mike legs, like you said, Mike legs was shot after that first round.
Dude, but what was crazy is to listen to Roy Jones Jr. be a part of the commentating staff, and all he could talk about, I'm talking about from second round to round 8, was I'm real concerned by Mike's legs. I'm real concerned by his leg because his legs were just shaking. It looked like he was never on balance. It looks like he was trying to anticipate Jake Paul's punch with how he was just continuously moving his upper body, but definitely not actually being sturdy enough or balanced enough to actually incorporate his lower body with it as well. And which could have been the shock with, not fighting for so long and with that type of crowd, with that type of atmosphere.
Yeah.
And also it could have been his health, because we got to remember, man, he actually had a post afterwards in which he was saying he won the fight in his heart because of his ability to bounce back from such a bad health patch leading up to the fight, as far as blood transfusion, being in the hospital, losing over 20 or 30 pounds, and still getting the strength and the stamina to be able to go back and train fully for this fight as well. So he felt like his process back to the fighting ring was enough. In which, internal wins are something that no man can judge because that's between you and the Most High. But like I said, I'm so glad. And Stephen A. said another thing I want to elaborate on. Stephen A. said, I was scared for him. He said he was very, very like frightened and on edge. Like, I just hope Mike don't die now. Because it looked throughout that fight like, man, Jake Paul really like hold back on him, man. Like he hit the man one time with a jab on top of his head. Like he just sat his hand on his head. And I was just like, man, like he really could do this, man. But
Yeah.
knowing the situation, I think knowing what they already had set up pre-fight, in which I don't want to say it was called. I don't want to say it was rigged, but everything looking up to it or leading up to it, and then having those type of results and outcome, we can all speculate about it, right? So
he respected Tyson, man. He didn't want, like he said, he didn't want to, embarrass him, man, and he didn't want to, knock him out like that. After his first fight back in the 4 years since he fought Roy Jones Jr. Mike just need to sit down somewhere, bro. But they said Mike hurt for bread a little bit, so Mike out there trying to get pay that he can get. You know what I'm saying?
And there are also reports out there saying that Jake Paul is going to give him $5 million of his earnings. So that definitely, I wouldn't doubt that either. That definitely, because the way Jake Paul stopped at the middle of toward the end of the fight, and was kind of like surrendering to that fact. It just made it seem like that it was mutual. It was a mutual agreement. It was something that they already had decided on.
He should have knocked him out.
He could have. He could have easily. But speaking of knocked out, that's a perfect word to lead us into our next topic. The reaction from, and I would just say our state, Alabama High School Athletic Association football playoffs. And we'll stick with 6, 7A. I will shout out a couple lower classification teams just from me having my ear to the world. I want to give a major shout out to my former coaching ground at McKenzie. They got knocked out in the second round, but they had a great season. Shout out to Jabo, Quay, Noah, a couple more guys on the team. I can go on for days, but congrats on a great season. Shout out to Georgiana, Coach Best, Barry Best, one of my great friends in the business. He's doing a great job. They are advanced to the third round. They'll be competing this upcoming week at the 1A level. So looking forward to see those teams continue to do good things. And one more shout out to the boys over there at Montgomery Catholic. Those guys have a great program. I know a few of the players on the team, a few of the coaches. Obviously, I think they're the 5A favorite, and we will see how that goes. They'll be advanced to the third round as well. But breaking down the 6A and 7A brackets, in which I think they are the most, I would say, parity field. A lot of good teams in both of those classifications. A lot of firepower as well. Reactions to the 7A side of things. Hoover took down Opelika this past week in a tight one, 32-29. Enterprise defeated Baker, in which they'll be moving on to play Thompson, who defeated Auburn. And Central defeated Vestavia Hills, in which they'll be playing Hoover in the third round of playoffs. Central has the right of hosting the third round playoff game. So Hoover will have a task on their hands winning in Central Phoenix City, in which we know a lot about being from Opelika Bulldogs. That is a very, very tough place to play, no matter what sport that you're playing. I don't know if it's just something in the water, something about the field, something about the organization.
It's something in that flag that's in their pocket.
Yeah, but I know it's very, very tough to play at Central Phoenix City no matter what you're doing. So if I had to choose just based on what I know it's gonna be very, very tough for Hoover. A reaction to the last week game with Hoover, I followed it all the way up, listened to it on the radio, things of that nature. I believe Opelika had a chance to win that game, obviously. Being down 16-0 and scoring 23 unanswered points in a row shows that they had the ability to win that football game. Obviously, with being at the Hoover Met and then being without the head coach, I think, some things kind of crumbled down the stretch, which caused them to end up losing the contest. See, me personally, I was hoping that Opelika was able to pull this out. This would have been the first time in program history beating Hoover High School, and which that would have been something monumental for me because I lost to them 3 times. Once in the state championship and twice in regular season matchups. So, how did you think that game went, man? Just based on what you predicted it to be.
I mean, obviously, I think I might have predicted Opelika to lose against Hoover, just because of the fact we were on the road playing with a sophomore quarterback, and I just had issues with not believing he could throw the ball when he needed to throw the ball. In this game, man, he actually did pretty decent. If you ask me, I think he did pretty decent. I think the biggest issue was we in overtime we did not run the ball. We ran the ball starting off, but in that third overtime we didn't run the ball inside the 5-yard line. I think we attempted to throw a pass, and that was the tail end of the game. But the boys had fight, man. They came out, started off, got themselves in the hole, gave up a bad safety. And hunted their way back, fought their way back. But just like me, man, I already knew from the beginning. I was telling Curtis, because we were both following the game, and I told him, I said, "This going to be a heartbreak." I said, "It's going to be a heartbreaking fashion." I said, "Come on, bro." I said, we always bleed Opelika, through and through. But in a sense, we know what we do. We hadn't won a championship before. This is a moment where we'll go and lose a very close game. And I think that's exactly what we did, due to the fact we had a young QB, due to the fact our head coach wasn't there. But this was a perfect year for Opelika to get deep in the playoffs. Perfect season. They blew it, bro. They blew it once again. So disappointed, man. Really disappointed. Glad, happy for the success this season. Based off of previous seasons. So I'm excited to see what is to come. But we losing over 30 seniors, so it's going to be a tough uphill battle for the next couple of seasons. Yeah, that's what I got for the Opelika game.
Yeah, man. But like I said, it's a very, very great opportunity for Coach Moore to show, how well he is as far as developing players, grooming them in the off season, getting them ready, getting them in shape, and continuing to push the standard forward. So, but looking at the Auburn-Thompson game, I didn't give a prediction for either one, simply because I kind of felt like it was a toss-up with either game. I will say I was not expecting Auburn to be dominated like they were early. I think the game was 28-7 at the start of the fourth quarter or the start of the third.
Mm-hmm.
Start of the fourth quarter. And with that being said, the running game for Auburn was stagnant early. They weren't able to get the ball to their playmakers on offense, and they were giving up big plays and explosive plays on defense, as far as allowing Seaborn to get a rushing and passing touchdown in the mix. Um, Multiple passing touchdowns, but also a long rushing touchdown in order to create a balanced offense for them at times. And then also just giving up big plays when it comes to uh, the passing game as well. So I obviously respect both Coach Etheridge and Coach Freeman. Um, and am looking forward to this third round matchup between Central and Hoover. More than I'm looking forward to the Enterprise and Thompson. I think Thompson has a clear cut advantage over Enterprise. I think the Central Hoover game will be a very close game. I can't give you a prediction on either game because this is a playoffs, and I would never doubt the uh, coaching job that Ben Blackman can do because he's a bona fide winner as well. And you look at his track record, and you look at his ability to develop players, but also unite players and create that strength of purpose for them to be able to achieve what they've been achieving. Because if you ask me, I Enterprise, there were 6 teams in our region that could have made the playoffs, and we're one of them, and we're not in. So I think Enterprises is either equal or maybe even less talented than what we had. So for them to make the third round run, for them to be one game from advancing to a state championship, I have to give Coach Blackman his credit because he's done well with what he has. So 6A, the game I'm looking forward to 6A. Obviously, everybody's talking about Saraland Spain Park. To talk about the bona fide winner that Coach Kelly has developed down there at Saraland, and obviously the multitude of talent that he has from quarterback position, the receivers, and the offensive line, and then also talk about other players on the other side of the ball. There's a lot of talent to go around at Saraland High School. Matching up with Spain Park, who's a traditional program that everybody knows, Jaguars up north out of the Birmingham area. I think that's going to be a good game. Pike Road in Hueytown. Hueytown has to travel to Pike Road, so that's going to be a great game. Everybody knows Hueytown is known for putting up points, and then obviously Pike Road was known for being able to be a competitor at every level that they've been at. When they were 3A, when they were 5A, and now them being 6A. They've known to make deep runs in the playoffs. They also have won a state championship before when they were 5A school. So I'm looking forward to some of those matchups, man, going forward. I think this has been a great year for high school football just because I think the parity shows, especially at the higher classifications, but it is definitely a lot of talent to go around when you talk about the state of Alabama and where it stands with high school athletes. So, B, man, go on and roll it out for us for the CFP official rankings that just came out yesterday. And let us hear them real quick, 1 to 12, please, sir.
All right, so we got number 1. We got Oregon sitting at 11-0. You got Ohio State sitting at 9-1. We got Texas coming in at 3, sitting at 9-1. Penn State at 4, 9-1. And we got an undefeated Indiana at 10-0 at 5. And we got Notre Dame at 6. Bama at 7. Bama, the top 2 loss team, at 7. Then you got Miami to slip to 8. You got a lot of people mad about that. You got a lot of folks pissed off right now about Bama jumping up 3 spots after beating Mercer. But then we got Ole Miss coming in at 9, Georgia at 10, Tennessee at 11, technically one of the first teams out. Boise State at 12, SMU at 13. SMU was another team that technically was one of the first teams out too, which is why I said them as well. But based off of those rankings right there, man, I got one problem. One problem. I don't like this Big Ten schedule. This Big Ten scheduling is horrific. You got an Indiana team who hadn't beat a ranked opponent yet. Who else on here hadn't beat a ranked opponent? I want to say Penn State don't have any ranked wins, if I'm not mistaken. They lost to Ohio State. So I don't think they got any ranked wins. So you got a lot of teams in this top 12 per se that I think the college football world or the committee wants to just see have a chance. The 12 team format was created to, in my opinion, push out SEC. It's too crowded with SEC in their top 4 because you got 2 teams who could possibly go every year, which is taking up 50% of the whole playoff. So when you go into 12 team, me personally, I said, y'all trying to kick us out. Bro, you might get more. You might get more teams. So in this instance, you got possibly 5 teams that are fighting for a spot in the playoffs from the SEC right now. I don't think all 5 gonna get in, but it's gonna be tough between Georgia, Tennessee, Ole Miss, and Bama. I think Texas is a guarantee unless they somehow lose to A&M, or possibly lose to Bama or whoever make it in the SEC championship. They say Bama got a clear shot to get to the championship. All they got to do is win out. Missouri got to beat either Mississippi State or Arkansas. I think they can get past one of them at least. But I'm scared, bro. I honestly don't even want to go to the SEC championship. I mean, the players, they're going to say they want to go. But from a fan perspective, I'm not knowing that the committee is going to honor a 3-loss SEC champion runner-up. They're not showing the same prestige or showing the same care towards somebody who makes it to the SEC championship. I think now they penalizing people for the L that you take in the SEC championship game. So I would rather somebody else go. We just sit it out, get a little rest before the 2 weeks rest period even begin, and then be ready to go against whoever we got to play. But Miami, I mean, a lot of Miami fans probably upset. But honestly, man, I think Miami was one of them teams who should have been lost. They had 2 or 3 games that were won last second, last minute. So Miami, honestly, I think they just been kind of fiddling, with the line this year. I think they kind of been dynamic on offense, but defense hadn't been dynamic at all. Colorado sneaking up there. They at 16. Y'all see the shirt tonight, by the way. Bama fan, but go Buffs tonight. Colorado at 16. What you think? You think Colorado gonna get in there? I see a clear path.
Will say I am somewhat confused by the rankings. The reason being, you said something that makes me look at the fact that we don't have a for sure thing until the conference championship games are played. Simply because those 4 conference championship winners get a bid automatically. And actually, it's the top 5 teams with conference championship bids get a automatic bid. So obviously, the first 4 are going to be from the Power 4, and a undefeated undefeated conference champion can also still receive that 5th automatic bid. So, with that being said, that is in reference to your point, talking about how 11 and 12 at the current rankings are actually the first 2 teams out. It's intriguing to me because it kind of keeps it all going. It keeps the conversation going. It keeps the players motivated. It keeps everybody continuously seeking ways to improve their program, improve their practice regimen, improve their strength conditioning program, their athletic training program. What are they doing at the current moment that can contribute to the success of the program going forward? And with all these teams on the bubble and all these teams in conversation, it also is keeping the fans excited all the way through the season. I think the intent of the 12-team playoff was similar to what you said, but in a different way because, I think the intent of the committee to create 12 teams was to light or ignite more of a fire, a competitive fire that lasts longer when it comes to not only just the players on the field, but the viewership, the attendance rate at games, the excitement. So the atmosphere, the contributing factor in that in itself keeps people engaged. So and also entertained. That's the number one goal of the whole sport. When you look at football, it is a gladiator sport, but it's so entertaining. People love to watch big plays in football. People love to see big hits. People love to see athletic moves. And obviously, yes, you can get this from basketball. You can get this stuff from and track, tennis, in all different forms, soccer. But the amount of viewership, fans, and excitement that is created from the game of football, I think is unmatched to a degree. When you talk about revenue sales, when you talk about the attendance gates, when you talk about the amount of money spent on paraphernalia and also resources linking to ticket sales and linking to season tickets, program viewership, all these different things. You got to talk about the game of college football. So I think that's what it does is enhanced it. You give the players, this transfer portal. You give them NIL, and creating a 12-team playoff is also kind of funding the continuous evolution of the game. So
yeah, agree. You think Colorado sneaking there? You think they sneaking there? I
oh
mean,
dang, I ain't even answer your main question.
you
But
good, you
yes,
good. BYU,
yes, I
because
think I think I think Colorado wins their last two, which is who? Utah and they just beat Utah. Who they net to?
Kansas and Oklahoma State.
Ooh. Oh boy, that Kansas game gonna be a good one because I don't think a lot of people understand that Kansas is just one of those fighter type teams. One of those teams that it's not gonna be an easy win for people on the schedule. You can tell that by their recent win over Iowa State, and then did they beat Texas Tech this past weekend or whoever they just played?
I'm not sure who Kansas did. I know they beat two teams they shouldn't have beat in the past 2 weeks. I know that much, but I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna beat Colorado though.
I don't think they will either. But like I said, they're gonna be a team that's gonna fight to the end. That's why I say the Kansas and the Oklahoma State games are gonna be still good games because obviously we know about the program built at Oklahoma State with their current head coach, known as the Mullet, and also just the recent success of the Kansas Jayhawk program in the past years. They're going to be a tough opponent. Yeah. But like I said, I do predict Colorado being able to win these last two games, get in the Big 12 championship game, and ultimately beat whoever they play in the Big 12 championship game and earn that fourth Power 4 bid. And we talk about SEC, Big 10, Big 12, and what's the fourth conference? Is it Pac-12?
ACC.
Oh, ACC, my bad. I forgot the Pac-12 got dismantled. But yes, man. So with that being said, I do think Colorado could get in there. I honestly think they will. I don't think you leave them out when you talk about money. You know, when you talk about the amount of clout that comes with them. Not only are they good players, yes, Shedeur Sanders probably be the number one quarterback taken off the board. Travis Hunter could be the number one player taken in the draft. Um, and then everybody knows the legend, Deion Prime Sanders. But I want to talk about the roster he assembled around him. Those he has guys like he did a specific thing when it comes to recruitment, and that's not only targeting dogs out of the transfer portal that are proven, but bringing in guys like Shepard from Vanderbilt, Webster from FAU. These were guys that were dogs at their previous university, but also understanding the geographical standpoint that he talked about it from the beginning. He said he was going to get guys from Florida. He said he was going to get guys from Georgia. He said he was going to get guys from Alabama, Texas, Louisiana. He said he was going to go down there and get guys and get them out there. He said it when he first got there. People thought he was crazy when he talking about, and I'm bringing my luggage, like I'm bringing Louis. We ain't talking about just what I was bringing from Jackson State. We're talking about recruiting classes to come, who I'm going to be able to influence to want to come be a part of what we build.
Yeah.
And I got to give him his props on that, because I even think he's in the running right now to land Julian Lewis, the one of the top quarterbacks in the class of 2025. So
Agreed.
I want to give him his props there. So with that being said, and then with him being the number one candidate for Coach of the Year, I'm going from 4-8. Hold on. He got the job. The team inherited was 1-11. He made a roster turnover and got it to 4-8. He did a little bit more in the roster turnover, and now he's at 8-2 with 2 games left. Possible 10-2 finish, 11-2 finish if you take my prediction for them to win the Big 12 and a spot in the college football playoff. So I think Deion is downright the Coach of the Year, but I think you cannot leave that type of story out of the playoffs. I think you also will miss out on some revenue if you do as well, because I think they come with a crowd. They come with fans support. They come with clicks. They come with pictures. They come with interviews that are going to be streaming on multiple platforms that people are going to love to watch, see, and hear from them. So
agreed.
I definitely think they're a hot team to get in there.
Hey, I think so too, man. I definitely agree with you on all of that.
Yeah, man. Well, man, in the last remarks before we get out of here for this episode, man.
Nah, man. I just thank the viewers, thank the supporters for watching our videos, and I just ask that you guys continue to watch our videos and like, click, and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you love our content.
All right, I want to second that motion. I also want to thank you all for chiming in. Thank our recent subscribers, our recent shares, and also people that would love to like our content. We will be doing more content, and we are open to ideas from people that we are close to. Obviously, this is our YouTube channel, but we will also in the near future be updating it with Twitter tags, Instagram tags, and ways that you could get in contact with us as well for further inquiries. We thank you all for viewership. Once again, this is episode 6 of BAM Media Sports Pod, and we're out of here once again, man.